Hey everyone, it's Smitha. Today we have a fun video. We're going to be talking all about makeup predictions for 2026. And I really want to focus on specific product types and types of products that I think that we're going to see in 2026. And I really wanted to do this before it gets too far into 2026 because, as you may have noticed, there's already been some products that have been starting to come out and trends that we're starting to see. So better sooner than later. Let's go ahead and get into it. Starting off with a few things that we already know that are coming out because they were predictions that I had that have come true. The first is that Wet n Wild is extending their Chameleon Chrome collection. I don't think that this is a super big surprise, really. This collection, in my mind, is one of the best performing collections that they had from last year, and they kept the products as part of the permanent lineup. It makes total sense to me that they would extend this line. I was a little surprised that it seems to be happening so early in the year, because festival season isn't until like April, May, June, I believe. But that being said, I do think that it was on the earlier side last year. So very exciting to see that there are affordable chromes that are available in the drugstore. And this was something that I had really hoped to see, and I'm really happy to see. All right, second specific prediction I had was that REM Beauty would do more of their pressed eyeshadows. And the reason I say that is because last year I reviewed the Fembot capsule, and their Fembot pressed single shadow sold out. I think they restocked it, and it seemed to have been limited edition, and I was really surprised because it was something that performed really well. And they have already shown that they are going to be releasing eyeshadow quads. The eyeshadow quads, I believe, are retailing for $30 a piece, which I think honestly for REM Beauty is a fair price. I haven't tried this formula yet, but I think that it's very promising because this is definitely something that did really well for them last year. It's a very good formula, and I was not a fan of their liquid shadows, so very happy to see that that is a prediction that's coming true. And for people that missed out on Fembot as a pressed single shadow, there is a dedicated quad, I believe, that's called the Fembot quad that has that single shadow in it. Okay, the third and final specific product release I wanted to mention is that Milk Makeup is coming out with jelly highlight sticks. And I am not surprised about this because 2 years ago, their jelly blush line just took, everyone by storm. There were so many brands that did dupes of it. I honestly feel as though their jelly highlight sticks are coming a year too late. And I say that because there were actually so many brands that did it last year. Wet n Wild did it, Moira did it. There were other brands, I believe About Face has some now. So I am intrigued as to how they're going to be, but I think honestly that they are probably going to be on par with some of these other brands. So it's just unfortunate that they didn't come out with that last year, but I do think it makes sense, and that's a product that did well for them. But personally, I don't think that it's going to do as well as their jelly blush line because there's so many brands that have done the jelly products in between then and now. The first trend prediction that I think that we're already beginning to see and is only going to continue throughout the year is the blurred lip. So, I'm talking about the sort of like powder like finish. So we have the Powder Kiss line that came out from MAC, and then we have the Cloud Whips that came out from ColourPop. We have products like that came out from Violet FR. I think this is a trend that we're going to continue to see throughout the year this year. I think that a lot of brands are kind of wanting to do their own version of that type of lip product. So I think that it only makes sense that a lot of the major brands that don't have that type of lip product are going to make products like that. Okay, another prediction that I have is that we are going to see more specifically lip liner stains. And I am talking about something sort of akin to the NYX Lip Lingerie that came out toward the end part of last year. I think that there were a lot of brands that did stains last year, and we're still going to see some stains into this year, but I think the major thing is the lip liner stain. I think that a lot of brands are going to do their version of that type of product, and not specifically because NYX did it and was successful, but because it's a really bomb product, and for the brands that have done it, I think they've seen a lot of success with them. I know that Wonderskin, I believe, has been doing it for quite some while, and there's some other brands as well. So yes, I think we're going to be seeing more lip liner stains throughout 2026. Okay, another thing I think we're really going to see in 2026 is more colorful highlights. And I saw that throughout last year, 2025, I was just blown away by how many brands from indie to mainstream were starting to do more interesting highlighters. And I think that is a trend that's going to continue into 2026. I know I have done quite a few highlighter videos, and I'm hoping to continue to do these types of videos into 2026. I'm all about highlighter, so it's a trend that I personally love. And I've also heard other creators kind of mention a similar thing, that they predict there's going to be more colorful highlights into 2026. And in general, I just think that a lot of people are hungry for colorful, fun makeup to come back. That is something that, has been a huge thing that people are talking about. 2026, could it be the new 2016? I don't know about that, but I do think that there are certain things that were present in 2016, especially in makeup and fashion, that we are hungry for again in 2026. Okay, in 2025, we saw a lot of brands come out with eyeshadow sticks, and specifically jelly eyeshadow sticks. The first brand that I ever tried that had a product like that was Juicy, which is a CBD brand, and I absolutely love them. And I want to say that they may have been the first brand, if not the first brand, then one of the first brands that came out with that type of product. And then last year we had Tower 28 do a version of those, Danessa Myricks. We had drugstore brands like Catrice. We've had Dose of Colors do, different versions of this type of product and be very successful with that. So I do think that we are going to see more of that into 2026. At some point, it's going to plateau, but I think especially into the early part of 2026, I wouldn't be surprised to see several more brands release a product like that. Okay, last product type I want to mention is sparkly lip balm sticks. So I'm talking about the type of product that came out from Fenty, their Gloss Bomb Shimmer Sticks. And then there's the ones from Juicy that came out last year, the Glaze Rouge. Then there were the ones that I reviewed from Hyrular. So I think that this is and Kaleidos, of course. Kaleidos came out with their Glass Load lip melts toward the end part of last year. They're all very different. I don't think that these are dupes for one another, but they've all been very successful. And I definitely see more brands releasing products like this in 2026. Okay, now specific launches from specific brands. Starting off with Kulfi Beauty. I think that one of the releases they're going to have this year is some type of blurred lip product. And the reason I say that is because they had the staining sort of glosses that came out a couple of years ago that did really well. They seem to be somewhat K-beauty inspired. They are absolutely lovely. And I could totally see Kulfi coming out with some type of blurred lip product in 2026. Okay, from MAC, since they had such a big year last year, especially with their kind of relaunch of some of their classic nudes and their extension of their nude range, then their revamp of their glosses, their eyeshadow sticks, they had so many really, really great launches last year. I think that they are going to go for some heavy hitters this year as well. They are trying to pull out some of their most successful products and then come out with some new things as well. I wouldn't be surprised if I saw them do some type of lip liner stain. And the other product that I could see them doing is a sparkly lip balm stick. I don't think they have any products like this somewhat recently. They have a few products here or there, but I don't think they have a large range for either one of, they don't have a lip liner stain and they don't have a large range of sparkly lip balm sticks. I could see them doing one or both of those type of products. From Fenty, I think Fenty is one of the brands that's very hard to predict. They, to me, have been a little bit all over the place with their releases. I think they had a lot that was very successful last year. I feel like their most successful launches last year were sparkly products like, limited edition sparkly gloss bombs. I think that's going to be something that continues into this year. Even some of the shades that everyone wishes were permanent are probably going to be limited edition. I also think that their diamond capsule did very well. So I wouldn't be surprised if they come out with some new diamond bomb shades as well. Beyond that, I really don't know. I could see them trying to relaunch some of their eyeshadow palettes. They really haven't had any successful or really noteworthy eyeshadow palettes in a while. So I could see them doing something along those lines. The other thing I could see them doing is a new highlighter formula. They had the Demi Glow that came out, I want to say 2 years ago. And I think they might be due for a new highlighter formula. Next brand we're going to talk about is Haus Labs. Haus Labs is not a brand that comes out with launches very often. They had a few last year, and I am a huge fan of Haus Labs. I didn't try their contour sticks, although those looked nice and it seemed like a lot of people liked them. I did try their new blushes that were kind of like bronzer shades. Absolutely loved those. I think their big hitter this year will be some type of lip liner. I am secretly hoping for eyeshadow, but I think more realistically, they're not a brand that really focuses on eyeshadow. It's not really in their branding. I think if they do an eyeshadow, it will be some type of eyeshadow stick, not palette. But I think that what's coming first from Haus Labs is some type of lip liner. Okay, from Half Magic, this is going to be a big year for Euphoria. So I am predicting some type of product related to Euphoria, whether it's a collaboration that's larger or a capsule collection. I know that, when Half Magic came about, I believe that it was after their most recent season. I don't think that there was a season while it's been out. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think that this is going to be a year where we're going to see a Half Magic and Euphoria related collection. And I think that makes a lot of sense, especially because Donnie Davy is the founder and has been working really hard and on set for Euphoria, and has even kind of been sharing some of the behind the scenes on the Euphoria set. So I think that could be something that is definitely going to happen and would be really smart for them to do. Okay, we already talked about REM Beauty, but let's talk about something that hasn't been sneak peeked yet, but I think we're going to see. I think we're going to see some other type of capsule collection, like the Fembot collection that was taking one of their iconic shades and turning it into a small capsule. I think that they're going to do this for one of their other shades. I believe their other most popular shade is Lab Coat, so I would not be surprised at all if we see a similar type of capsule, maybe around the early summer or midsummer, sometime close to when the Fembot capsule came out last year. Okay, my big prediction from Danessa Myricks is that we are going to get some type of heavy hitter. I don't believe that Danessa Myricks Beauty has any lip products. I think that this is the year that we're going to see some type of lip product release from Danessa Myricks. Knowing Danessa Myricks is going to be maybe some type of multi-use products, because a lot of the products in the line can be used for many different purposes, especially like the Color Fix. I know that she'll even use that on the lips, but I feel like there's going to be a launch specifically for lips this year. Okay, from NARS, this is another brand that I think is pretty hard to predict, honestly. They had some products that did well. They always have good staple items, their blush palettes, their holiday palettes in general. Their highlighters that came out last year were fantastic. But something that I think that could very possibly come back this year is their 12-pan eyeshadow palettes. I feel like there was a sweet spot for their 12-pan eyeshadow palettes, especially like 5-6 years ago, where they were releasing those 12-pan palettes, and so many people had them. They were so good. Then, they started to get more and more neutral, but they were still good. But I think that this is quite possibly the year that those 12-pan palettes are going to come back, especially since people have been really craving more visible makeup. Okay, Queen Cosmetics, which is an indie brand that I've talked about on my channel several times before. They do fantastic sparkly makeup products, especially their glosses and their eyeshadows are what they're most known for. I think that, and they are in Ulta this year, by the way, as of the end of 2025, so they are more widely available. I think that they are going to do a new product type. I wouldn't be surprised at all if we see some type of highlighter product from Queen Cosmetics. They do sparkly makeup and just, special standout party themed makeup so well. So I feel like they're due for some type of release related to highlighters. Okay, and the last brand that I want to talk about is Juicy. Juicy is a sea beauty brand. Again, I've talked about it on my channel several times, and I've reviewed several of the products. And one of the things that we saw last year is that they started to come out with some colorful makeup products. They've, for the longest time, had more neutral shades, good staple day-to-day items, and they came out with beautiful, kind of more sparkly and colorful glosses. They weren't, they're more like a light to medium opacity, but I think that this year they're going to expand on some of their more colorful makeup products, like their glosses, their eyeshadow sticks, maybe even some new product types, because I think that those products actually did really well for them last year. Okay, now that we've had a chance to talk about some launches that we know are already happening, some predictions I have for trends and specific launches, I would really love to hear what predictions you have in the comments. I think, talking about the things that are going to come out is really just fun. Regardless of what the trends do, I've been wearing colorful eyeshadow even when eyeshadow wasn't, as cool of a thing. I think people should do what they want to do at any time, but it is a lot of fun to talk about predictions, trends, things like that. And I really want to come back at the end of the year and see how many of the specific launches that I predicted came true. I just think that would be a lot of fun. If you made it to the end of the video, comment 2026. I hope that your year is off to a good start. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.